Oh, yeah. Is it Thursday already? Wow, this is the news we've been waiting for. This might be, honestly, the best news of the entire year, and that's saying something. We finally got our first official look at Darth Maul from the Maul Shadow Lord series coming next year, and Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka Season 2. Oh, this is where the fun indeed does begin. Let's dive into all of this. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday? It's Thursday, right, Chad? Thursday, I believe. Thursday afternoon. I looked at the chat. I don't think any of you got this. Nobody guessed the, I think it's Poe Dameron's X-Wing. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think it's Poe Dameron. I don't think anybody guessed it, so you're 0 for 1 today, chat. You're 0 for 1 today, chat. But I will say I am unbelievably excited. As much as I am hyped up for Ahsoka Season 2, this Maul series has me on a whole nother level. The animation style of Darth Maul in this official first look at Maul is incredible, and I cannot wait. Once you thought they had perfected the animation style in Clone Wars Season 7 and in the Bad Batch, they made it even better? How is that even possible? We're going to talk about all this stuff. We're going to look at the official images and do all that greatness. We'll figure that out as we go on. But let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Let's start this stream off the right way. Brandon Baker, what is up? Drewby McCool, of course, in the house. John Groom, what is up? Mando United, how we doing? Justin in the house. Can we get some happy birthdays to Justin? It was yesterday. Happy birthday to Justin. Give me one in the chat. WV Grad, what is up? Vertex in the house. Rachel, how we doing? Fearless, what is up? Kyler, how we doing? Chris, what is up? Darth Plagueis lives, how we doing? Tafari Tano in the house. Starship 66, what is up? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Mando United, what's up? If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay. Vic Owen, what's up? Back from vacation? Nice. Hope you had a great vacation. Maul, Ahsoka. I mean, we're living it up over here, chat. It doesn't really get much better than this. It is the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan. We're still coming off the gigantic high that was Skeleton Crew and the 1-2 punch of Skeleton Crew in Andor Season 2 to kickstart our year. We had Star Wars Celebration, and now San Diego Comic-Con, which we thought really wasn't going to give us anything at all because D23 is in August, has already given us the first official look at Ezra Bridger in Season 2 in his new look, and Darth Maul in the Maul Shadow Lord series. So maybe, just maybe, this weekend might give us a lot more than we ever once anticipated. Like, this could be a huge weekend for Star Wars news when I thought there would actually be probably nothing going on this weekend. But this all comes from San Diego Comic-Con. All the news we're talking about today is coming from the biggest Comic-Con of the year, San Diego. And Marvel's not going to be there. There's no Hall H panel, for those of you who know what that is. And DC, I believe, is not going to be there either. So Star Wars might have the opportunity here to steal the show, which would be pretty cool. But let's take a look at this. There's a whole, I don't even know what you want to call it, a display. Hang on, let's see. A whole gallery, maybe? I don't even know. A whole, yeah, gallery. They're calling it a gallery. There's a whole gallery set up for Star Wars, and that's what gave us these cool official looks. So let's take a look at this. This comes from StarWars.com themselves. So let's take a gander. 20 years of Star Wars animation. That's crazy. Being that I'm only 23 years old, obviously I don't really have any idea of what 20 years ago was like, but I was only 3 years old. 20 years of Star Wars animation. When there's people who come to you and go, you know, I don't watch the animation stuff, it's for kids. I'm like, well, you're missing some of the greatest Star Wars content that's ever existed. From the Clone Wars to Rebels to the Bad Batch to the Tales series and now the upcoming Maul Shadow Lord. You're missing some of the greatest Star Wars content to ever exist. So that's your loss. You know, that's just your loss. But with that being said, take a look at this. Never before seen art celebrates the 20 years of Lucasfilm animation at San Diego Comic-Con 2025. Exclusive new look at beloved characters, pages from Dave Filoni's sketchbook. I like that. Yeah, okay. In 2011, Dave Filoni sat down to sketch a clone trooper, and he wrote a few names beside him: Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, and Crosshair. Why do those names sound so familiar? That drawing has journeyed over the years at Filoni's desk at Lucasfilm Animation to the production of Star Wars The Bad Batch in 2021. So it took 10 years from that first drawing to create The Bad Batch. And honestly, of the animated shows, The Clone Wars gets a lot of hype because everybody loves it. Rebels, it's a number 2, but it's probably a pretty far behind number 2 because of the animation style and all this other stuff. But The Bad Batch doesn't really get enough credit for what it does. It doesn't have legacy characters, really. I mean, there's a few that show up once in a while. But you don't have legacy characters like Anakin or Ahsoka or Obi-Wan or Yoda or Palpatine showing up like you do in Rebels and you do in, I guess Palpatine's in a couple episodes of The Bad Batch, but you do in the Clone Wars as well. This is a show about The Bad Batch, Clone Force 99, and it's unbelievably good, especially that third season. And it doesn't get enough credit for being as good or getting enough credit for being that good, especially that third season. When we do the ranking lists of the Star Wars series, the seasons of Star Wars, it's usually up in the top of the list because it's that good. But it doesn't have any legacy characters, so people are like, that's what they sound like. They go, yeah. Whoever's going to see Fantastic Four tonight, enjoy it, but no spoilers. Yeah, I'm going to see it tonight and tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, definitely no spoilers. No spoilers in the chat for Fantastic Four if you've seen it already or you're going to see it today. Yeah, absolutely not. Hang on, we got a super chat here before we keep going. Hang on. Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10. Holla, god damn! I like the sound of that. It says yes. Sorry. Looks like San Diego Comic-Con could give us a lot more than we once thought. Agreed. Can't wait for the Maul series. You and me both. You and me both. But I appreciate that. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here. So I appreciate that. All right, let's go. Let's get back to this article though. Hang on. Now that I've been so rudely interrupted. So here is our first look at Maul. We're going to take a deeper look into that picture in just a second, but let's keep reading. The drawing is one that many never have seen. Illustrations and images on display now, and this is the gallery we're talking about. At the annual convention and celebration of all things pop culture, San Diego Comic-Con attendees will get an up-close look at the future of Lucasfilm Animation with the first still from Maul Shadow Lord, and that's right there. But we'll take a closer look in a second. I wonder if, and tell me in the chat, do you think, actually, let's pull this up. You know, let's put up a poll, chat. If you haven't smashed a freaking like on this stream, what the hell are you waiting for? All right. Do you think we will get a Maul, well, that's not how you spell Maul, a Maul trailer this weekend? Will we get the first official teaser trailer for the Maul series this weekend? Yes or no? You tell me. All right. And while you do that, let's get back to this. Yes, in an intimate exhibit celebrating the 20th anniversary of Lucasfilm Animation, spanning the Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, can't forget about that one, The Bad Batch, and the anthology series of Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, and Tales of the Underworld. And here's our first look at Ezra. But again, we'll get to that in a second. Don't get ahead of yourself, chat. Take a look at this gallery. So you have all the different phases of Star Wars animation through the years, actually in order. Clone Wars to Rebels to Resistance to Bad Batch to the Tales series to Maul Shadow Lord. And each of these exhibits, and it zooms in on these, has different things going on. So take a look at this. This first one is a Bad Batch exhibit. You got, hang on, let's zoom in on these. Here we go. Aha, that's much better. So you got Hunter's helmet, a statue of it, I suppose. This was Omega's little toy there from season 3. This is the Wrecker Lola which eventually gets given to Omega 2. Cast and crew jacket. Oh, that's kind of cool. Because they all come with the clone on it. That's pretty cool. So this is the Bad Batch exhibit. Pretty cool. Moving on. Oh, this one's awesome. So this is how they brought Cad Bane to life. Take a look at this. This is from the Book of Boba Fett. You got the hat from the Book of Boba Fett. You got his blasters from the Book of Boba Fett. And you got how they brought his face to life. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. They got how his prosthetic face came to life. You got his creepy teeth right there, his chin, his bright red eyes. I gotta ask, Chat, do you think that Cad Bane is dead? Chat? Resistance is the only show or movie that I haven't watched in Star Wars. Should I give it a chance? Honestly, go in with very, 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 very low expectations, and you won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. It's really nothing important. It doesn't tie to much of anything at all. But even with that being said, I had a fun time watching it. It wasn't like the worst thing to ever grace my eyes. I didn't have to turn it off because it was so bad. It's more geared towards the younger kids, but it's sort of just the adventure of the week type thing. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy. But do we think the Cad Bane's still alive? Or did I say dead? Yes, because I see a bunch of no's in the chat. Do you think the Cad Bane is dead? Heck no. No, no, no. I don't think so. No. No, 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 no. Yes. I think yes. Okay. Well, people think because of the blinking red light on his chest that he was alive. Toto could come in and save him and do that whole thing, Yeah. Yes, Kyler is on top of it today. The Easter egg from today's live stream is that Ahsoka Tano. And actually, she's placed in a pretty crazy spot because she's right next to a pop figure of Ahsoka. And this microphone arm is almost blocking her. And the chat is sometimes blocking her. So right there, Ahsoka Tano, because we're talking Ahsoka. Kyler, shout out to you. Let me, hang on. I don't have that open, so let me get that. That's 1,000 credits in your pocket, Kyler. 1,000 credits. I just thought because we're talking Ahsoka today, you might as well give Ahsoka. Wait, what? No. How the fuck do I do this? Save settings. That's not it. Oh. No. Aha, there it is. Kyler, where are you at? Kyler. Okay, while I look for Kyler's name, why do you think Cad Bane is alive, and where will he show up next? Honestly, them giving him this whole exhibit in this gallery makes me think he might still be alive, if I'm being completely honest. But tell me in the chat, why do you think he's alive, and where the hell do you think he is? Where the hell is Kyler's name in all this? There should be a lot easier of a solution to this, if I'm being honest. Let me see if I can just search his name. Nope. Okay. That's not an option. Kyler, remind me later, and I'll do it another time. Okay. That's just very hard to accomplish right now. Okay. Going back. So Cad Bane. That's how they brought him back to life. Actually, at the top of this, too, you see the blade. The Blade of Talzin from Ahsoka Season 1. This thing is so sick. Honestly, say what you will about lightsaber hilts in Star Wars, because they're awesome, but this might be just as cool. This is the blade that Morgan Elsbeth uses to fight Ahsoka in Season 1. That thing is sick. Just the hilt alone is so awesome. But there's another display, a bunch of Cad Bane stuff. I would love those blasters too. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay, but next, this is from Star Wars Resistance. So this is the Colossus, which is the base from Star Wars Resistance. This is also from Star Wars Resistance. This is, this looks like Maybe the X-Wing. It just says X-Wing Starfighter. This is the main character. I can't even think of his name. Kaz? That's his X-Wing, but this might just be an X-Wing. That might be R2. This might be Luke's X-Wing. But I'm not too sure. Here you got some Resistance characters. You got Leia, you got Kaz, and others. I watched Resistance this year, and I can't even remember what happened in it, honestly. But here you have, yeah, let's zoom in on this one. Anakin's lightsaber. Anakin's lightsaber, which we've seen many a times. He just recently wielded in Ahsoka Season 1. And you got Bo-Katan, her blasters, and her helmet. Now, the question must be asked. Do you think that Bo is going to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Ahsoka Season 2 is probably later on in the year than the Mandalorian and Grogu. And those two projects will be heavily connected with characters and plot and everything in between because they exist in the same time in the same galaxy. But a character like Bo, who is one of the main characters of Season 3 of The Mandalorian, it seems highly likely that she'll be involved in at least the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, if not Ahsoka Season 2 as well. And actually, Vertex says in the chat, he thinks that you'll see Cad Bane in Ahsoka Season 2, which, I mean, that would be wild. I don't see where he would be thrown in there. Is Droopy down? No, I don't think so. He's right there. No way. Are we seeing the Colossus in live action, please? I doubt it, but I mean, no, probably not. It even comes with a description of these characters, too. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, moving on. Here we got more of the animation characters, their heads, I guess. It still gets me, Count Dooku and Palpatine's heads in the Clone Wars. They're so pointy. You got Zebarelius and Sabine right there. Harrison Dula, Kanan Jarrus. Ooh, the Grand Inquisitor. And Darth Vader, of course, the iconic design from Rebels. Who the oh, it's the Queen. Didn't you guys make me do an impression of this one time? Yeah, no thanks. Padme Amidala, they randomly just threw that lady in there. Ahsoka and Chopper. Chopper! You made it, buddy. Nice. Chopper and Ezra. Speaking of Ezra, we'll get to that in a sec. And is that all? Nope. We got more. Oh my God, they gave us Oppo and holy crap. This is George Lucas back there. Okay, but that's besides the point. So these are all animation characters that came into live action. So you got all the Rebels crew, Bo-Katan, Cad Bane, Ahsoka Tano. These are all the... It's like we're pretty much there, chat. It's like we're at San Diego Comic-Con right about now. So this is the Clone Wars exhibit. You got some... Hang on. You got some concept art right here. That looks like somebody riding a starfighter. That's hard to tell. Okay, never mind. But you got some concept art. More concept art for Rebels. Again with Resistance. Bad Batch. Tales. You got the Inquisitor right there. That's pretty cool. And they focus in on Tales of the Underworld, which was Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress. And Maul, Shadow Lord. So let's get to the point here, chat. We got these two new images. First and foremost being the Maul Shadow Lord one, which looks a little bit like this. This is the official still from StarWars.com. And I must say, this has got me so ridiculously hyped up for Maul Shadow Lord. Now, I already was ridiculously hyped up for Maul Shadow Lord. However, this has got me even more excited. And for one specific reason, the animation style. This is nothing like we've ever seen before. And I can prove it. I mean, first you have Maul that looks like... Oh, that's very zoomed in. Hang on. You have Maul that looks like this from Rebels. That's very different than this. Rebels does have that unique, let's call it, unique style of animation. Different from the Clone Wars and all the others. But even Maul in the Clone Wars. And right here is the perfect example because he's wearing the exact same outfit Doesn't take many showers, that Darth Maul. But he's wearing the exact same outfit in this scene in the Clone Wars here while he's sitting on the throne with the Darksaber on Mandalore. That's an insane sentence. Darth Maul sitting on the throne of Mandalore with the Darksaber. Whew, how great we have it with the Clone Wars. But he's wearing the exact same outfit here. And look at the animation change. Look at that. It looks more real, for lack of a better word. He doesn't look live action, but it looks more real, if that makes any sense. Oh, it looks so good. And he's, of course, wielding that double-bladed lightsaber we saw in Clone Wars Season 7. Where he is, location-wise, I have no idea. There's some, door behind him. He's wielding his lightsaber. He must be in some sort of combat here. But looks incredible. Way more detailed, as John Groove puts it in the chat. So, I thought when they finished the Bad Batch, and they've been doing Tales of the Underworld and Tales of the Jedi and Empire, it seems like they had mastered that type of animation. And they did. I mean, there's some scenes in the Bad Batch Season 3 that are literally movie quality. They're that good. The animation level has gotten to a very, very good peak. So I thought they would just use that same animation techniques to make the Maul series. But no, they decided to change it. Now, change is not always a good thing. However, in this instance, it definitely looks like it's a good thing. This looks absolutely incredible. The Force Dragon, what's up? How we doing? So tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this show? For Maul Shadow Lord. He's fighting Marok here. It very well could be, because in the trailer, he's fighting Marok. I don't know if it's the same location, but yes, he could very well be killing Marok, and Marok eventually becomes a brought to life Night Sister magic zombie, Yeah. Holy crap. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10, 11 out of 10, 9.9, 10, 15, 10, 10, 10, 8, 9. Pretty damn high. Could he be going after Vader? Interesting. We're going to speculate about what we think is going down in this Maul series in just a second. And hang on just a second. But Vader, Palpatine, Inquisitors, we're going to get it all. Darth Talon, the Underworld, Hutts, Pikes. We're getting it all. This show is going to be absolutely insane. We wanted a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. We wanted a Clone Rebellion show. And yes, those would have been great. We wanted an Asajj Ventress Hidden Path show. Yes, all that would have been great. But this is the diamond in all that rough. Not that that was bad, but you know what I mean. This is the best possible outcome for Star Wars animation. A Maul series, not only is it focusing on the bad guys, but you're going to get all your favorite characters, all the greatness that is the underworld of Star Wars, focused around Darth Maul. Now, Darth Maul is my third favorite character all time in Star Wars, so I'm ridiculously hyped. And maybe you're not at the same level as me, but clearly you are, because everybody in the chat's putting it at a ridiculously high score. But this show is the perfect way to continue the animation styles of Star Wars, continue storytelling in the Star Wars universe in this time gap between the Bad Batch and Solo or Kenobi or Rebels, because there's not much content in between those 10, 15 years. And Maul will give us that. So, with that being said, what do you think? Let's talk plot. What do you think's going down in this show? I've heard rumors that it's not Darth Talon. Her name is Terran or something like that. Well, that would be a huge missed opportunity. Now, maybe it's just going to be a canon version of Talon, and they don't want to make too many similarities, so they change the name, but I think that's a big miss. If you're going to make a Twi'lek character that's apprenticed to Darth Maul, that has the same sort of designs as Talon, and not give us Talon? What's the point in that? What is it? You know? I hope Ventress is in the show. Well, they did set up Ventress and her new Padawan to have a lot more going on there. that'd be pretty good. The new Maul image is underwhelming to me. The animation looks rough. I literally could not disagree with you more. I mean, when you look at it versus Clone Wars or versus Rebels, this looks like the greatest thing we've ever laid our eyes on. I mean, come on. It looks so good. Yeah. The crazy thing, too, is it's all about the plot of the show. This show could suck, for all we know. We don't know what the actual plot's going to be, but I certainly doubt it will with the people behind it. And you look at this. Rebels animation, I mean, I'm not blind. I know it's not nearly as good as what we just looked at or even the Clone Wars. I know this is a weird, goofy animation style, but the storytelling in Rebels is what makes it so good. So you get past the animation style, and now all those characters are in live action anyway, but you get past the animation style because the storytelling is so good. So even if you don't like this, which I certainly do, but if you don't like this, that's okay. It's the story that counts, you know? That's really all that matters. I want to see flashbacks of him when he was captured by Palpatine. Me too. Or at least sort of an explanation, because I know it's explained in comics. I understand that. But things that have been explained in comics and in novels or books, they have also had to be explained in animation or in live action, because not everybody reads the comics. Not everybody reads the books. So that information is not readily available for most people. The same conversation we're going to have with Ahsoka Season 2 later on in this live stream when we get to the Ezra stuff, because Abeloth, the Mortis gods, that stuff is not known to everybody. Because if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, well, then you don't know who the hell the Mortis gods are. Yeah. Mike, you say that Maul is your third favorite character. Indeed, I do. Who are your top two? That's a great question. You guys want to guess? Hang on, Chad. What do we think? Her Darth name is Talon? Oh, it could be that. That's very what that could possibly be true. That could definitely be true. Yeah, I mean, a Sith name is different than your actual name. Except for Maul. Like, we don't really know Maul's name, now that I think about it. You got Darth Tyrannus as Count Dooku. You got Darth Sidious as Palpatine. You got Darth Vader as Anakin. Huh, but Maul is just Maul. Fascinating. The more you know. So maybe that's the case. Maybe Darth Talon has a different name because he's not yet a Sith Lord. And then she becomes one later on the line. Maybe we're actually getting that crazy theory we were coming up with last week where we were talking about Darth Krayt and his Sith Order. And maybe Darth Krayt dubs her, henceforth you shall be known as Darth Talon. And we get a scene like that. So maybe you're absolutely right. He was born into the Sith. That's why his name's Maul. Maybe. Oh, favorite two characters. I was like, why are you guys putting in random characters? Somebody got it right. Yeah, Anakin and Ahsoka. Anakin is number 1, Ahsoka's number 2, and Maul is number 3. I did have to put my number 4 last night. If you guys were on the live stream with Star Wars Jedi Chat last night, we did our Mount Rushmores of Star Wars characters. So throw in your Mount Rushmore of Star Wars characters in the chat. That just means your top 4 characters because Mount Rushmore has 4 people on it. So my 4th one was Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I think I would still stick to that now. It's a tough 4th spot to pick. I was going between either Palpatine or Obi-Wan or Ezra or Yoda or maybe Han. It's hard to just dwindle it to 4, you know? So for me, it was Anakin in order. Anakin, Ahsoka, Maul, Obi-Wan. Just 4 characters that have so much character arc over the course of Star Wars. Like, there's plenty of characters that I like maybe more than them that only have a little bit of screen time. For example, Luthen. Luthen in Andor is one of my favorite characters all time. However, he doesn't crack that top 4 because he's only in 2 seasons of Andor, and he'll only ever be in 2 seasons of Andor. That's sort of the issue. Yeah. But tell me your Mount Rushmore of Star Wars characters in the chat. Top 4. Top 4 only. Maul, Palps, Plagueis, and Obi-Wan. Damn, that's a lot of Sith Lords. R2, nice. Luke, Chopper, and Vader. 2 droids. I like that. Yeah, no droids on my list, unless you count Maul as half droid. Yeah. Anakin, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Luke. Nice. Han used to be one of my favorites. What happened? Anakin, Ahsoka, Maul, and Obi-Wan for me. That's my exact list. Anakin, Mando. Yes, Din Djarin didn't make my list, sadly. Maybe he will eventually. I mean, he still might be getting his own trilogy, so only time will tell. Yeah. Oh my God. Ron with the insanely generous super chats. $20. Holla. Do you think that Shadow Lord will show more of Maul's connection to the Night Sisters and how that shapes his rise to power? Yes, I think the fact that he's going to be on Dathomir at some point, because we know that he's on Dathomir during the events of Solo, because when he's talking to Kira on the hologram, he says, meet me on Dathomir and we'll complete your training. So there'll be some sort of Night Sister stuff going on there. But all the Night Sisters are dead. That's a big issue. This is going to take place before Cal Kestis gets to Dathomir, because when he goes to Dathomir, then we see Terran Malicos and we see Merrin. It would be very cool to see Terran Malicos like versus Darth Maul. Hang on. How does this timeline work here, chat? When in the timeline is Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Or no, sorry. Jedi Fallen Order, not Survivor. The first game. Fallen Order. When in the timeline is Fallen Order? How many years after Order 66 is Fallen Order take place? Because it would be really cool to see Darth Maul at least interact. Maybe not fight, but interact with Terran Malicos while he's on Dathomir. Because they both be around Dathomir, you know? The Lobo, what's up from New York City? What's up? New York. The Big Apple. Must be a big-ass apple. I've never been there, but it must be an enormous apple. Yeah. Could Asajj Ventress show up in the Shadow Lord show? Yes. And I think, honestly, Tales of the Underworld was setting that up for Asajj to come into that, but only time will tell. And Ron with his other super chat said, that was a great, fun chat last night. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Indeed, it was, Ron. Rex got to make, yeah, for sure. Anakin, Palpatine, Dooku, and Kylo Ren. Nice. Dengar makes it. I like that. Luke, Leia, Han, and Dengar. So the big 3 and then just Dengar. I like it. I like it. Wow, Rex took out Maul. That's devastating. Yeah. That's devastating. Cal was like 13. Cal was 13 in Jedi Fallen Order? What? Or during Order 66, you're saying? It was like 8 or 9 years after Order 66? Hang on. Let's do a quick Google check. When does Jedi Fallen Order take place? 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. So in the year 14 BBY. Hang on, chat. Maul, Shadow Lord. Maul, Shadow Lord. After the Clone Wars, Maul plots to rebuild this criminal syndicate on the planet untouched by the Empire. So it just says after the Clone Wars. So this seems like right after, right? When I read that, I think right after the Clone Wars. So it's a little early. But this is going to be multiple seasons. So you got to assume that at some point, maybe Maul's off planet, but at some point, he'll cross paths with people like Terran Malicos and maybe even Merrin, which would be pretty cool. Yeah. But going back to this image, having a show fully focused on Maul is very different than having Maul in Rebels or the Clone Wars. Because he's a side character in those shows. He's just hunting down Obi-Wan. And I guess even still hunting down Obi-Wan in Rebels. But he's now the main character. We've never seen this before in Star Wars. We've never seen a show that focuses fully on a villain. Never before. I mean, I guess the Acolyte's probably the closest thing to that, but a lot of the Acolyte focuses on the Jedi too. Probably the majority, actually. So this is the first time ever where there's really no heroes. There's no redeeming qualities. It's bad versus worse, as Sam Witwer put it. Bad guys versus worse guys. We've never seen that before. Like, that alone gets me excited. Maul's not a villain? What would you describe Maul as if not a villain? Chat? Chat? Robot Chicken ruined Dengar for me? Well, I apologize for that. Order 66, Cal Kestis was 12 or 13. By the time of the game, he would be 17 to 18. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then there's like a 5-year gap until the next game, right? So then he'd be like 23-ish, give or take. Yeah. He's a hero? Okay. Well, that's a interesting way to look at it. He's not as evil as Palpatine. He's not as bad as Darth Vader even, but he's definitely murdered a couple people. He chops off people's heads on screen in the Clone Wars. He murders Satine right in front of Obi-Wan. Like, he's not a good guy. He's misunderstood. Okay. Okay. Chat, I'm getting nervous.
I got a bad feeling about this.
You guys are making me nervous. I'm scared right now. He's just selfish? Okay. Well, he is a Sith. So Sith tend to be pretty selfish. Now, what interests me about Maul mostly is the last we saw him, at least the last we saw him in Clone Wars, where we're going to see him right after, is he was trying to convince Ahsoka to help him, join him, to stop Sidious and to stop Vader, Anakin. And you could make the argument that he's not that big, that bad a guy there, I guess. He has already chopped off the people's heads. He has already killed Satine. He has already done the bad stuff. But he's at least trying to help out. He's at least trying to stop his former master from his evil plan. He doesn't succeed. But now what is his goal? What is his purpose? That's what's going to be most intriguing to me. Why does he want to build up this underworld? Why does he want, is he trying to take down Palpatine? Is he trying to stop him still? Because now he's got a whole empire. He controls the entire galaxy. What's he going to do? What is young little Maul going to do about that? He already got absolutely whooped by Palpatine in the Clone Wars when he had his brother at his side too. So I don't think Maul is delusional. I don't think he really expects to be able to beat Palpatine in a one-on-one, or even Vader for that matter. But it'd be pretty cool to see him try. That'd be pretty awesome. I want to see Maul have visions of killing Sidious. That would be cool. There could be interactions where these characters see each other, or at least are in the same location. Maybe he's building up an underworld. He's got his Maul DeLoreans with him so that he can have an army to go up against Inquisitors and Vader and all that. We know that Marok will be in the show. He's an Inquisitor, actually a dead one by the time of Ahsoka where we see him. It's honestly really cool because it's much like A New Hope, where George Lucas plants the seeds of the Clone Wars and of the Force itself and Anakin and all that stuff that happened before the events of A New Hope. And then eventually we see it go back and explain that. That's sort of what Ahsoka did. Ahsoka gives us characters like Baylan Skoll, Shin Hati, Marok, Morgan Elsbeth, and then we retroactively go back and explain those characters. We haven't gotten a backstory for Baylan yet, but Morgan Elsbeth in Tales of the Empire, and now we're getting how Marok came to be in Maul. Like, that's really cool stuff. But you will see him go toe-to-toe with Inquisitors. That's why by the time of Rebels, the Inquisitors are scared of him. They know him as a shadow. which is going to be pretty cool. Yeah. What if next year is all about Sam Witwer and we see him as the son in Ahsoka too? That would be pretty cool. There's been a lot of rumors lately that he might be the voice of the son yet again in Ahsoka season 2, but we'll get to that. Yeah. Maul is definitely a villain. Yeah. He does some pretty messed up stuff. He's a Sith. True. So as cool as I've made it seem, because it is very cool, that we're getting a Maul series, the real question is, like, how do you give us a show about bad guys? Because usually you're rooting for a character. Who will you be rooting for in this series? I know some of you are crazy and you're like, Mike, I've always been rooting for Maul. I've always been rooting for the guy who's been chopping off people's heads. I've always been rooting for the guy who's been murdering people left and right because I'm crazy like that. But in all seriousness, how do you pull this off? How do you give us a show about a bad guy and make it feel like he's not? What's his goal? Now, I've thought about this for a while now, all morning and yesterday night too, but the perfect example of that is Breaking Bad. Give me a 1 into the chat if you've seen the show Breaking Bad. I should see a million ones in the chat. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, stop whatever you're doing, cancel your plans for the rest of the day, and start it tonight. Tonight, watch Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is a show. Well, now I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I won't. It's a show about not the greatest guy. We'll put it that way. He sort of starts out as a good guy, but he's not the good guy. And you still feel for him and you want him to succeed, even though he's not doing good things. And that might just be what this Maul Shadow Lord is about. That might be how this works. Because Maul is not the best guy, but Palpatine is a worse guy. There's a Maul trailer? What? I don't think there is. You gonna make me look? You're gonna make me look? Chat, is there a Maul trailer? You lied to me. You lied to me. Okay. But as I was saying, they're going to make it look like Palpatine is so much worse than him that we almost feel for the character. Bring in Moff Gideon to animation? That'd be kind of cool. Some backstory. Made Mike look. I know. Well, you can't say there's a Maul trailer and I'm not going to look. You kidding me? I love Sam Witwer, but I really don't care for Maul, to be honest, especially since we know where he ends up. Well, that could be the same thing with Andor. You know where Andor ends up. He dies on the beaches of Scarif. Spoiler alert. He dies on Scarif. That doesn't make Andor less of a great show. Obi-Wan dies in A New Hope. That doesn't make the prequel trilogy worse because you know where he dies and where Anakin dies because he dies in Return of the Jedi too. It's not always the case that because you know when and where a character dies, that you can't tell more story with that character. And Maul has one of the greatest endings ever, dying to Obi-Wan in the sand dunes of Tatooine. But that doesn't mean his story is fully filled out. A lot of questions actually about where he ends up in Rebels need to be answered. Because not only is he on Malachor 5 by himself, which is insane. Because last we see him in Solo, he's the leader of the Crimson Dawn. How does he go from that to by himself, stranded on Malachor 5? How does that happen? Also, why are the Inquisitors scared of him? Why do they think of him as a shadow? Why is he scared of Vader? All these questions will be revealed through the Maul series. Now, there'll be a lot more than just that, but the end of the show will hopefully lead directly into Rebels, where we see him on Malachor 5. Yeah. I don't have a problem with him dying. I just don't care for the character. Well, that's a whole nother thing. If you don't like the character, then you don't like the character. There's not much I can do about that. I'm not here to change your mind. That's for damn sure. Yeah. Maul is the first somehow Palpatine returned character. Actually, is he the first? He's one of the first. Yeah. You had another vision? Yeah, so one of the lines, as person 17, nice name, says in the chat, Rook Cast, who's a Mandalorian who is the purple-haired Mandalorian that's alongside of Darth Maul and is in the trailer for the Maul series, is talking about him having visions. Now, he's going to have visions about this character, I believe, of Darth Talon, or whatever her actual name is before she becomes a Darth. He finds this kid and begins to train her. Now, the biggest question I have about Maul Shadow Lord is what happens to Talon? Because by the time of Solo, Talon's gone. He's getting a new apprentice of Kira, and then Kira becomes the leader of the Crimson Dawn. So where did Talon go? I seriously doubt that they're going to introduce such a great legacy character like Darth Talon and kill her off in the same show. I think what's going on here is a similar to a Omega type character. Omega was established, brand new character in season 1, episode 1 of The Bad Batch. We got 3 seasons with that character, so much character development with her, and fans fell in love with that character. And now you're going to get so much more Omega in live action. She's probably going to interact with Boba Fett at some point. She is the key to Project Necromancer for Palpatine. She's the only character that we know of that can transfer midichlorians from one being to a cloned being. She's very important, we'll put it that way. But before The Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 1, nobody knew who Omega was. Nobody cared about Omega. And now she's going to have this really bright future in the Star Wars timeline. That's going to be the same with Darth Talon. I don't know why or how she leaves Maul. She gets trained by Maul for a while, but then she leaves. I don't know why. But that's going to be very important, and she's going to be very important for many, many, many years to come. Yeah. Indeed. And Kira takes over the Crimson Dawn. I'd love to see a Kira in the Maul show. Well, it fully depends on how many seasons this Maul show is, and if there's like time jumps in between seasons or anything like that, because there's a lot of time to cover here. You have from Clone Wars to Rebels. That's, I think, like 15 years. What year does Rebels start in the timeline? What year is Rebels season 1? No, not what year in the real world, in Star Wars. Five BBY. So that's still 14 years. 14 years is a long time in the Star Wars timeline. So by the time of Maul season 1 to whatever season it ends on, they have to cover 14 years. I do think Kira will be in it, probably in the later seasons when she comes in after Solo. And that could lead to getting more Kira in Star Wars. I mean, maybe even in live action, which would be great. But you have a lot of time to cover. So this could be a 4 or 5 season show. I don't see them going to like 7 like the Clone Wars. That's just a lot of television and a lot of storytelling with even a character like Maul. That's a lot. But I could see 3, 4, or 5 seasons because it's 14 years of storytelling. The Clone Wars is 7 seasons. It's like a year. Actually, I take that back. I think it's a couple of years. But even still, it's very short amount of time as opposed to 14 years. But, yeah. Indeed. Talon leaves him on that planet. It's a good theory. It is a good theory, but up until that point, like, he would have already had Kira. So I think Talon would have had to leave him a long time before that. Yeah. There's so many possibilities with the show. Oh, yeah, there are. Yep. Just a couple. Just a couple. Maul is a legacy character. He deserves this. Just like Luke should get his own show, too. I could not agree with you more. I mean, Luke's Jedi Temple show, when it happens, not if, when it happens, it will become like the biggest thing because you're focusing on the main legacy characters like Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, R2, C-3PO, etc. And that's very important. Palpatine's return, Kylo Ren's fall to the dark side, Snoke's rise to power, the First Order. But before that happens, you have to tell the story of Thrawn. You have to tell the heir to the Empire. You have to tell the Mandalorian and Grogu story. And Ahsoka Season 2. And that's not done yet. So in the meantime, we got Maul Shadowlord, which is a great in the meantime show to have, if I do say so myself. What if what if Talon tries to kill Maul and take his place? I mean, that would be the way that the Sith work. But I don't know if she'd do it that quickly. I don't know. That is what's really cool about this show. We know so little. We think we know, but we don't know. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. I think Kira could show up in Shadowlord, definitely. Just probably later on in the shows. Yeah. The Clone Wars was 3 years? Okay. The Adventures of Chopper and K2S. I don't think so. Those questions need to be answered after Solo. Yeah, Solo leaves us on a giant cliffhanger. I think Maul can give us the answers, at least to the bad guy side of it. Yeah. Absolutely. What if Talon joins the Inquisitors? Well, that would be a sad end. Because she would, die. I don't think Talon's going to become an Inquisitor. However, she could kill a bunch of Inquisitors in this show. That would be great to see. I could see Maul just throwing her in like the deep end. Like leaving her stranded to kill a bunch of Inquisitors. And then when she does that, she's like so mad at Maul that she doesn't return to him. I could see Maul being like too hard on her or something along those lines where training is just too much and she doesn't want to do it anymore. Maybe Talon tries to betray Maul and fails miserably, and Maul abandons her like Sidious abandoned him. I don't know if he would do that because Sidious abandoned him. So he would see that as it being wrong. Now, maybe Maul thinks that Talon dies, much like Palpatine probably thought that Maul died when he gets chopped in half in Phantom Menace. Maybe Talon is in some sort of fight versus Inquisitors or Vader or anybody else, I guess. And Maul thinks she dies, and somehow she escapes, somehow she survives. I don't know where she would go or why she wouldn't go back to Maul, but maybe, I don't know. Talon is above the Inquisitors. Maul could use Inquisitors as a part of her training. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Marok's death could just be a part of Talon's training, which would be, that sounds awesome. That sounds so great. Yeah. So a lot can go down in Maul Shadowlord, needless to say. A lot of villains. Inquisitors, Palpatine, Vader, the Empire, criminal underworld. Sounds awesome. But this is our first official look. I want to switch gears because we've almost hit the hour mark already, and we haven't even started talking about Ahsoka Season 2. So let's switch gears a little bit here, because this is not the only greatness that we got this morning. No, it is not. We also got this. Shit, where is it? Hang on, chat. We also got, here we go. This. Our first official look at Season 2 Ezra Bridger. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a big Rebels guy, and you know I'm a huge Ezra Bridger guy. He's one of my top 5 easily favorite characters in Star Wars. He and Obi-Wan almost are interchangeable in that 4 spot. He is an awesome character who finally got brought over to live action in Ahsoka. And now, in Ahsoka Season 2, he looks incredible. We talk about casting in Star Wars a lot. We talk about fan casting and dream casts and all this stuff. Iman Esfandi was not the biggest actor on the world. he gets cast as Ezra Bridger, and we're all like, okay, cool. Little did we know, this might be one of the greatest castings of all time. He looks perfect. I mean, come on. He's got the longer hair. This is Ezra from the early seasons of Rebels, because then he cuts his hair real short after that whole dark side experience. He cuts his hair real short, and then in Ahsoka season 1, he's got the really long hair with the beard too. But this is perfection. This is exactly the right casting. But all that to be said, this is our first look at Ezra in season 2. He's working with the New Republic now, clearly. He's on some sort of New Republic ship here. He's wearing the nice New Republic jacket. He might be a pilot. Who knows? He's still got the scratches on his face. And in the very, very bright contact lenses. But this is great. This is blasphemy. I just saw the comment section, and the first comment says that Mina Masood, I don't know how to pronounce that, would have been better. That's highly inaccurate, but even still. What role Ezra's going to play? We talked about this last stream, but I want to talk about it a little bit more again. What role is Ezra going to play in Ahsoka season 2? The fact that he's one of very few lightsaber wielding, force wielding badasses in the Star Wars galaxy right now could lead to some chaos. Let's just put it that way. Could lead to us seeing maybe a Luke Skywalker appearance, maybe somebody else, but him definitely going toe-to-toe with Night Sisters, toe-to-toe with stormtroopers, and fighting quite a bit of people. Because as as Dave Filoni put it, we're getting a war in our Star Wars. Training Jason, that'd be pretty great too. That'd be pretty great. What's with popular Jedi and having scars on their face, LOL? I mean, yeah. Yeah. We won, guys. Iman was born to play Ezra. He really was. I mean, it's the perfect casting. The perfect casting. We're living it up here as Star Wars fans, that's for damn sure. Don't forget about Zeb. True. So Zeb is one of the characters that will be, we know for a fact, in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and in Ahsoka season 2. That's a big, big part. Dave, what's up? Appreciate you. Yeah. So, first official look at Ezra Bridger seemingly working with the New Republic now. Nicely fresh shaved face. Unlike his season 1 appearance that's right here. Oh, wait, crap. Hang on, chat. We got to go back. We'll go back in a second. I have more Maul stuff to talk about. Damn it. I knew we were moving too fast. We took too long talking about Maul. We got sidetracked as per usual, but let's talk Ezra Bridger. Star Wars Ahsoka Season 2. Photo reveals one major character's new look. San Diego Comic-Con has once again served as an epicenter for groundbreaking Star Wars revelations, and this year is no exception. And hopefully this is just the beginning. I mean, the weekend hasn't even started yet. Like, this is a whole weekend long thing. This is just the display that was up this morning. But a newly unveiled exclusive first look photo from season 2 of Disney Plus's Star Wars Ahsoka is the first piece of visual news from the upcoming season. And by the way, it's still filming right now, so don't expect a trailer anytime soon or a release date or anything like that. This is just a gift from Lucasfilm. And it's like Christmas morning right now, you know? Not only did we get Maul, but we also got Ezra. Like, this is Christmas. But showcasing Iman Esfandi's Ezra Bridger with a distinctly fresh appearance. The image prominently displayed at the Star Wars booth beside a photo of a younger, long-haired Ezra Bridger, which we just looked at. This one right here from season 1 from Star Wars Rebels confirms the young Jedi's return to the main galaxy and hints at a significant evolution of the character following his exile. we know Ezra pretty well. We spent 4 seasons with him. When he comes back in Ahsoka, he seems still like Ezra. However, 11 years? 11 years by yourself in a different galaxy, it's not going to just do nothing to him. That's going to have some sort of effect on Ezra as we see him in season 2. He's also a character that has a dark side to him. So that might play a role in it too. But just keep that in mind, because Ezra being in Ahsoka season 2 doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be the Ezra that we know and love from the get-go. He might be going through some stuff early on in the season because he's been exiled for 11 years. But this early glimpse sparks many questions about what Ezra's new role might entail within the New Republic, as I mentioned before, especially as the shadow of Grand Admiral Thrawn looms large over the coming conflict. Ezra's updated look speaks volumes about his journey and potential future, signaling a more refined and perhaps militarily intricate presence. Easy for me to say. So this was the sort of, grainy photo that was released this morning. We finally got an official look that was this. Hang on. That was this. This was the official one from StarWars.com. So for the first couple hours this morning, we were just all looking at that grainy photo of Ezra, and then we finally got the official one that was right here. But, there we go. His appearance suggests he is now officially a part of the New Republic's military ranks. After a dramatic reunion with his former ally Ahsoka Tano and the fellow Ghost crew member Sabine Wren, love interest, followed. I mean, who doesn't think that we're going to see Ezra and Sabine together? Chat. They played it up because Ezra's, of course, in love with Sabine throughout Rebels, and Sabine's like, no, thank you. But then when the roles switch, Ezra's sort of moved on because they're just friends. And now Sabine in Ahsoka season 1 is sort of like, the love interest there too. It's been a long setup. We've been at least 12, 13, 14 years. What rank do you think they gave him? Interesting. Captain? I don't know. I mean, I don't know the New Republic's ranking system, so I don't really know what that means. But you got to think, I mean, it's tough because he is technically a war hero, stopped Grand Admiral Thrawn at the Battle of Lothal. He's a Jedi. So you'd assume that they give him a pretty high ranking. But he has also been missing for 11 years. So he might be not all there in the head, I don't know. Can I get some good cups full of orders, though, in the chat? Bum, bum. Commander Bridger? Well, what rank did they give Sabine in season 1? Was it Commander? Or Captain? Chat. Real question. Where the hell is Ezra in episode 9? Honestly, not a bad question. Because Kanan, Ahsoka, I guess that's it from Rebels. But a lot of Jedi reach out to Rey when she is all the Jedi, fighting Palpatine on Exegol. Why is Ezra not there? Well, the assumption could be that Ezra's still alive. But that would also mean that Ahsoka is dead. She is a commander? Interesting. Do you guys think that the reason Ezra doesn't reach out to Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker is because he's still alive? Luke was a commander? Leia's in charge of the military right now? Question mark. What is Leia's role in the New Republic right now? It's not in charge of the military. It's hang on. Let's look it up. This is before she gets taken out because they find out they don't like the fact that her dad was Vader. What is Leia's role in the New Republic? She's a founding member, of course. Oh, Chief of State. Yes, that's what it was. Chief of State. So she's not. Yeah, and then when she leaves, she forms the resistance. Yeah. Okay. All right. Where was I? The recent unveiled image from San Diego Comic-Con offers a detailed look at at his transformation. Gone is the unkempt, bearded wanderer seen during his time in the distant Peridia galaxy. Instead, Iman Esfandi's Ezra sports a clean-shaven face and a noticeably shorter, tamer hair. Is tamer a word? Sure, tamer hair, echoing his early, more familiar appearance from the first 2 seasons of Star Wars Rebels. I mean, very much the same. They made him look perfect. Star Wars Rebels. He wears a sharp, dark blue jacket, a stark contrast from his previous unkempt clothing on Peridia. He pretty much forged his own clothing on Peridia. And his overall expression exudes a sense of renewed purpose and health. Interestingly, there appears to be a subtle adjustment in his contact lenses, making his dazzling blue eyes a touch less intense, contributing a look that feels both more mature and reminiscent of the youthful, mischievous charm. Now that I'm reading all this and there's no mention of it, it makes me want it even more. I hope that Ezra loses his mind. 11 years secluded by herself on a planet should make you kind of go a little bit crazy, you know? I mean, would you not want to see Ezra lose his mind? Who thinks we'll get an Ezra and Sabine baby? I mean, I'd be... Why not? Why not? I'd be all in for that. That'd be fantastic. Whoa. Say that again. I heard that if Ezra is going to train Jason Syndulla, he eventually could turn to the dark side. I don't know if this is true, though. Well, that comes from Jason Solo. Because Jason Solo in Legends does turn to the dark side, does, well, kill Mara Jade and all that. But that's Jason Solo. This is Jason Syndulla. Now, maybe this character is going to be a canon version of that. And it would be really, really cool to see Jason Syndulla turn to the dark side. But it will be... Think of it this way, okay? Imagine Ezra starts to train Jason in the ways of the Force. Now, Ezra, never having trained anybody before, is not going to be all that good at it. Fast forward a couple of years, Jason's a little bit older now, and his mom dies. Imagine Grand Admiral Thrawn kills Hera Syndulla, leading Jason Syndulla down a very dark path. Both parents gone. Now he has the abilities to wield the Force. He's being trained by Ezra, who doesn't really know what he's doing. It's much like Obi-Wan training Anakin. Now, I'm not saying Obi-Wan didn't know what he was doing, but he was too young, didn't know how to train an apprentice, and he was forced into it. Qui-Gon's death forced him into that. So, I mean, that would be pretty wild if Jason Syndulla, much like Jason Solo in Legends, falls to the dark side. That'd be pretty crazy. Yeah. Depends on the new Jedi rules. Well, Ezra's sort of doing it by himself. Ezra lost his trainer pretty early, too. Ezra's still very young when Kanan dies. That's even worse than your Din theory, Mike. My Din theory is fantastic. Din Djarin's going to die so that Grogu can have a better arc. Ezra joins Thrawn at the end of the war to help the Chiss Ascendancy fight the Grisk. Now that's a great theory. I don't think it'll be the Grisk. Sorry, yes, it will be the Grisk, not the Vong. That would be incredible. That would be the Thrawn that people really love. Because Thrawn's a genius. He is a villain, but he's doing it for a specific reason. Like, he's not just evil to be evil. He's trying to protect his people. So that would be pretty awesome. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. No, Pedro Pascal needs to be in everything. Well, he hasn't really even been in The Mandalorian as of recent because he doesn't show his face, and he can't show his face. Yeah. Has there ever been another Force user that can open both Sith and Jedi holocrons like Ezra? Huh. I mean, I assume that a Jedi, you have to tap into the dark side to be able to do that. So I'd assume people like Count Dooku. Well, I guess, yeah, I don't know. It would, yeah, it depends. It depends. Cal Kestis, ooh, yeah, Cal. Well, that's why I want Cal Kestis to come to live action too, because I feel like him and Ezra share a lot of similarities, especially if Cal doesn't fall completely to the dark side. It would be really cool, let's be honest, if Cal completely fell to the dark side in the third Jedi game. But let's say he doesn't. Him and Ezra have that in common, where both of them really, really struggled with the dark side of the Force. Both for valid reasons, I guess, but they both have that in common. So those two characters would work very, very well on screen together. Yeah. Yeah. Reddit leakers say that Talon's name is going to be Tarian Seleno? Which makes sense. They take the TA from Terran and the Len from Seleno to make Talon. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but I like the theory because Darth Talon is her Sith name. So she can have whatever the hell name she wants before she gets her Sith name. Yeah. Is Ezra and Ahsoka the only ones who've entered the World Between Worlds? That's a great question. We don't know. I mean, we don't know because the World Between Worlds is such a sparsely used thing. It's not actually something that everybody taps into or has entered before. So I don't think they're the only ones to ever do it, but as far as we're aware of, yes, they are the only ones. Yeah. What will Cal's canon hairstyle be? I mean, that's not a horrible question. I think it's just a base one from the game because you can customize Cal Kestis' look quite a bit. I don't think he's going to be coming in there with the Jedi mullet and the Master Shifu mustache that I give him when I play Jedi Survivor. So I don't think that's what he's going to look like, but I think it'll be the base model of Cal Kestis that we see. Yeah. No upgrades. No upgrades. Star Wars Santa, what's up? How we doing? Luke has the dark side in him too. Yeah, but you don't really see Luke struggle all that much with it. Yes, he struggles with it in Return of the Jedi, but he's not like actually going to the dark side and tapping into that dark side that we see with Ezra when he forces the ATST walker guy to literally walk off the cliff. And when Cal Kestis, or at least how I used Cal Kestis, when he goes full dark side mode and just destroys stormtroopers left and right, you don't see that with Luke Skywalker. Yes, he has that dark side probably in him, and he struggles with that like every Jedi does, but you don't ever see him tap into the dark side. Yeah. Poncho? Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be a poncho. Yeah. Definitely poncho. For sure. I like Ezra's look more in Ahsoka Season 1. He looks more like Moses. Okay. Valid, I guess. I like it in Season 2 more already just because he looks like Rebels. He looks more like Rebels Ezra, which is, you know. He looks an awful lot like Jabba the Hutt, if I'm being completely honest. But that's just what comes with the character, I guess. Damn, WV Grad is just out here taking all my credits away. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah. Lothal is in Ahsoka? Season 1? Yeah, it is. Indeed it is. If these leaks are real, yeah, I assume that those Darth Talon leaks are probably real, the name, because it doesn't have to be a name, you know? What are the commands for Droopy again? To gamble, it's exclamation point gamble. To check your credits, it's exclamation point credits. I forget what else. There's other ones. Oh, okay. Yeah. I do think that Darth Talon is just her Sith name, though. Yeah. Indeed. Are those real eyes or contacts? Those are contacts. So they said that they dimmed it down a little bit. I mean, in season 1, they are very, very, very sharp blue. And here, it is a little bit dimmer. Maybe it's the jacket that's sort of making them look even more blue. I'm not too sure. But yes, those are contacts. I'm not sure off the top of my head what color eyes Iman Esfandi has. But yeah, those are contacts for sure. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be so great to see the Rebels crew reunite. Easy for me to say. Well, at least Zeb and Ezra reunite, because with Sabine being in the other galaxy, they're not going to have their reunion just yet, at least. Yeah. I forgot about the heist. That's awesome. WV Grad is trying to get a crew together to smuggle some death sticks. So awesome. Okay. Yes, they're definitely contacts, though. Yeah. I live in Vegas. All we do is gamble, LOL. Well, that's a tough place to live if you're not good at gambling. Yeah. You get Zeb, Hera, Ezra, Chopper. So all you're really missing is Sabine. And Sabine's off in a different galaxy. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Talon may be saved for the gap between the original trilogy and the sequels, and they will have her turn Harrison Dulla's son to the dark side. And Asherad Het, of course, might get a setup in Kenobi Season 2. That would be fantastic. And yeah, I know I'm making all these Fantastic Four jokes today, but like, seriously, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. You could set up, again, all these projects are very much connected. Not in their plots specifically, but all these different characters. If Darth Talon is set up in the Maul series, and then Darth Krayt is set up in Kenobi Season 2, you can have both those characters, or at least Talon at least, come into the Mandoverse and maybe even help Jason Syndulla fall to the dark side. But you can also have them show up post-sequels with Darth Krayt leading a new Sith empire, or a new group of Sith, with Darth Talon involved with that too. That all sounds incredible to me. Yeah. It has to be connected. If it wasn't, then it would be lame and weird. Well, yeah. I'm not saying that every project is going to be the same storyline. That's not what I mean by these things being connected. Like, Andor is not going to be the same story as The Mandalorian. However, you're going to have certain characters maybe be connected between projects. For example, even in Andor, you have Saw Gerrera, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, like those characters that are all across the board. And it still connects, like we're talking about here, from Maul to Kenobi to the Jedi games to the Mandoverse. Like, everything is all interconnected in Star Wars. That's why you have all these great Easter eggs. You're pleasing the hardcore fans while also giving the normie fans a great story to watch. What if Jason's a Knight of Ren? That would be pretty cool. I don't see that happening because his death would be very meaningless in Rise of Skywalker, but it would still be kind of cool. Yeah. I think Ezra will be the reason that Jason turns to the dark side, incorporating too much dark side stuff in the training because it worked for him, but then it backfires with Jason. That would be pretty cool. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Poor Taylor Gray. I liked who they got for Ezra, but the guy who voiced him looked like him too. Yeah, he kind of looks like him. Like, he doesn't look completely like him, like Katie Sackhoff. Katie Sackhoff looks exactly like Bo-Katan, so that works very well. Taylor, on the other hand, and here, we'll look up a picture of him. Taylor Gray. He does, but he doesn't, you know? He's not nearly as close as, like, Iman Esfandi is. Whoa, that's a very close picture. And, I mean, because I'm a huge Rebels fan, I can't forget to mention how incredible Taylor does with this character. Like, he is Ezra, much like Ashley Eckstein is Ahsoka, and so is Rosario Dawson, and so is Iman Esfandi. Not Ahsoka Tano, obviously, but these characters that bring them to life still work. Do you listen to the pod of The Rebellion? I like it. All the voice actors are on it. I know, I haven't listened to it yet. I'm slacking over here, but I do definitely want to tune into that because it is all the Rebels crew, pretty much. Yeah. Iman is better for live action. True. Yeah. Mike, did you hear about Hulk Hogan today? Yeah, I did. Sucks. I mean, on Tuesday we talked about it. We had Ozzy Osbourne, and now today we got Hulk Hogan. Like, what's going on? Sucks. Yeah. Imagine how pissed Hera would be with Ezra if he turned her son to the dark side. I mean, yeah, if she's still around for it. Ahsoka as Rosario Dawson is my top favorites, really, because she gets a lot of crap for Rosario Dawson gets a lot of crap for being Ahsoka. Because a lot of people actually didn't like the choice. I love the choice. I mean, she is Ahsoka. But there's a lot of people who weren't as open to it, so to say. So, of these two new images today, the Ezra one is cooler to me. The Maul one is more important because Maul Shadow Lord is going to come out before Ahsoka Season 2. And it could be leading to us getting actually some footage, hopefully, this weekend at San Diego Comic-Con for Maul Shadow Lord. But the Ezra one is more cool because this is filming right now. We're not going to get a trailer for Ahsoka Season 2 this weekend. We're not going to get any announcement for Ahsoka Season 2 this weekend. This is all we get. So this is really, really cool. Yeah. But going back to the Maul stuff, because there was a couple articles that I was going to read, and I didn't. Well, let's get back to this Maul stuff really, really quickly. Okay? Darth Maul redesigned the new Disney Plus series reveal, or the redesign for him. This is him in live action, of course. Star Wars has unveiled the first look at Darth Maul from the upcoming animated TV show, Maul Shadow Lord. We haven't really talked about this much, but tell me in the chat, what do you think of the name Maul Shadow Lord? Do you like the name? What do we think? Mike, Hera is mentioned in the sequels. She can't die? Hera is mentioned in the sequels? What? Hera Syndulla is mentioned in the sequels when? Well, the ghost is in the sequels. The ghost is at the Battle of Exegol. Actually, let's pull this up. Let's pull this up. Not if Hera was in the sequels. No, we're not pulling that up. We're pulling this up. By the way, 65% of you say yes, you think that we'll get a Maul trailer this weekend. Oh, that would be insane. Okay, sorry. Got a little excited there. Shit, what was I going to just pull up there? Oh, do you like the title Maul Shadow Lord? Yes or no? Because the animated shows we've gotten before have been pretty short and to the point. The Clone Wars, Rebels, The Bad Batch, Resistance. They're all just, straight and to the point. Maul Shadow Lord, it could just be called Maul. It could just be called Darth Maul. Well, I guess he's not Darth Maul anymore, but even still. What do we think of the title? I personally really like it because just the word shadow alone makes me think of Rebels, where the Inquisitors are calling him a shadow, which is pretty cool. But what do you think? What do you guys think? Do you guys like the name? They call her name. They call for General Syndulla. I think you're thinking of Rogue One. In Rogue One, they call for General Syndulla. Did it also happen in the sequels? Because I don't remember that. I'm going to have to look this up. Let's look it up. Is Hera Syndulla, hang on. Hera Syndulla mentioned in the sequels? Yes, she was mentioned in the sequels. Specifically, she is mentioned in Rogue One. Okay, well, that's not the sequels. And the ghost appears in Rise of Skywalker. Okay. Yes. All right, here we go. Rogue One. Hera is mentioned by name on the intercom announcement at the Rebel base on Yavin 4 when they call for General Syndulla. That's in Rogue One. In Rise of Skywalker, the Ghost, which is Hera's ship, is seen participating in the Battle of Exegol. So that doesn't mean that she's the one piloting it, though. Could be Ezra, could be Jason, could be anybody. Yeah. Okay. Let me get to the super chat, though. David with a very generous $2 says, it should have been called Shadow Lord of the Dance. We could start the petition right now. We could get that going right this second. We got time. We could change it. Yeah. AI confuses Rogue One with the sequels a lot. I mean, technically it is a sequel to the prequels. I guess. Okay. But let's get back to this article. So tell me what you think about Shadow Lord in the chat. Even George Lucas knew he made a mistake by killing off Darth Maul, and the Sith Apprentice was resurrected in the Clone Wars. Maul's story is set up to continue in the animation spin-off next year in Maul Shadow Lord. Lucasfilm unveiled a new look at Maul Shadow Lord at San Diego Comic-Con this morning. That was the grainy photo of it all. Darth Sidious's former apprentice is shown with his signature double-bladed lightsaber that we saw in Clone Wars Season 7. And it's interesting to note that his new outfit eschews the traditional hooded look for a Sith. It's the same look he had, though, in the Clone Wars, which he's not really a Sith, you know? The background is fascinating, with the blood red colors perhaps signifying a connection with the Crimson Dawn, a crime cartel, try saying that 10 times fast, he established during this period. Yeah, a lot of red, that's for sure. So, how this show is making a history for Star Wars. Well, Darth Maul Shadow Lord is the first Star Wars TV show that's actually stars the villain rather than the hero. But Maul will still be more of a protagonist than is usually the case. He's attempting to survive in the shadows of far greater evils. This is post-Order 66, at the time where Palpatine and Vader rule with Inquisitors and the entirety of the Empire. Solo: A Star Wars Story revealed that Maul reestablished his role as a crime boss during the dark times of the Emperor's reign. Now this, if it sounds familiar, is the idea that George Lucas had for the sequel trilogy. So this show, in particular, Maul Shadow Lord, is almost a canon version of what George Lucas intended the sequels to be, especially if this apprentice of his is going to be Darth Talon. That was the plot that George Lucas intended for Maul to have in his version of the sequel trilogy. He was going to be the leader of the criminal underworld and was going to have an apprentice that was going to be Darth Talon. That's what this show is going to be. So for those who've been holding out hope that George Lucas's version of that sequel trilogy would come to be, well, aspects of it are becoming a reality. Maul had a simple goal. He wanted to overthrow the Sith, getting revenge on Darth Sidious. The criminal empire known as the Crimson Dawn was intended to be the tool to do so. Voiced by Sam Witwer, in the Clone Wars, Maul has become one of the most important villains in the franchise. He's an enemy both for the heroes and the villains, the Jedi and Palpatine. A third force who complicated the galactic conflict and whose survival actually wrong-footed Palpatine himself, which I know it already exists in comics yet again, and we know the story, but I'd love to see it in animation getting flashbacks to that whole Son of Dathomir stuff with the time period after he gets captured by Palpatine. There's always been a large gap in Darth Maul's timeline from Clone Wars to Solo and from Solo to Rebels. Made all more curious because of the brief glimpse of him that we got in Rebels. Maul Shadow Lord will presumably work to clear up some of these, helping viewers understand how he became a key part during the Dark Times too. Lucasfilm has yet to give an indication as to just when Darth Maul Shadow Lord will release. 2026 is all we know right now, but Star Wars is in a quiet period right now. But 2026 promises to be an exciting year. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, Ahsoka Season 2, and Maul Shadow Lord. Yes, we're in sort of a quiet period, as they put it here in this article. We do have Visions Volume 3, Rebuild the Galaxy Season 2 this fall. But in terms of Disney, you got Fantastic Four tomorrow. You have Tron, you have Avatar. So Star Wars 2026 is going to be like jam-packed. Every freaking week we're going to have new Star Wars content pretty much, depending on how many episodes Maul Shadow Lord is, I guess. But Season 2 of Ahsoka, Maul Shadow Lord, Mandalorian and Grogu movie, that's all we know of right now. There could be a Tales series and who knows what else. But even still, in this dark times, these slow times for Star Wars, is when all the news happens. That's when we get the trailers. That's when we get the teaser trailer for Maul. That's when we get the teaser trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That's where we get the announcements for the next Star Wars projects and movies. And this September, Starfighter goes into production. So we'll get more information about that, more cast and crew and plot, anything that we can get from that movie too. But yes, 2026 will be a jam-packed year. Now, what to expect in this show? What's going to go down? Well, Sam Witwer, who portrays Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, will do so yet again in the upcoming sequel series, offering insight. And tell me in the chat, how many seasons do you think this show will be? Maul Shadow Lord. Will it be just like 3 like the Bad Batch? Will it be 4 like Rebels? Will it be 5? Will it be 6? Will it be 7 like the Clone Wars? Tell me in the chat. But it offers insight into what fans can expect in his return to the greater Star Wars universe in mid-July 2025, teasing some of Maul's upcoming journeys after Star Wars' first 21st century animated show, Clone Wars. Actually, the second, right? Sam Witwer indicated plenty of his character's story will be left to explore, reflecting on Maul's relationship with the Emperor Palpatine and Darth Sidious at the end of Revenge of the Sith. He shared how much impact the Empire's rise would have on the Sith's plans. This will also come to a new emotional complexity that Maul has never shown in his past appearances. I mean, Maul does have an emotional complexity in the Clone Wars, but it's more still just a evil one. He still just wants to get revenge for Obi-Wan. It's not really until he comes back in Season 7 where he has that more complex character arc to him. Even though it will still be the same character at his core. That's been made very clear by Sam Witwer and by Lucasfilm. This is still going to be the badass Darth Maul that we know and love. It's not going to be a Book of Boba Fett situation where Boba Fett has now become a hero. And people didn't want that. People didn't want Boba Fett, the badass bounty hunter, to become a hero. I still think he should have, and it works because he died and came back to life and gets trained, or becomes a family man with the Tuskens for 5 years in the desert, but that's beside the point. He's actually never really a bad guy. When you watch the Clone Wars, you know, he's still like Aura Singh is doing all the killing for him, and he's just trying to get revenge for his dad, and he doesn't want to kill anybody, and he's just a innocent little child, and Boba Fett's never really been a bad guy, but no disintegrations. So yeah, but Darth Maul's not going to be a bad guy. Just kidding. Darth Maul is not going to change his character. That's been made very, very clear. He will still be a bad guy. It's bad guys versus worse guys. That's very clear. Yes. Okay. Only one season? You guys think? No, it's definitely going to be multiple seasons. 3, 3, 3, at least 3. Okay. 4, 3 to 4. 4, 2, 2. 4, 5. I think it's got to be at least 3 because it's spanning over 14 years. Unless there's big time jumps in the show or in between seasons, then yeah. We'll see. Okay. Where the hell was I? Oh, he'll still be the same at his core. So he's not going to turn into a hero. That's for sure. While other Star Wars stories have focused on anti-heroes and darker characters, Maul's villainous nature will be highlighted in this way that no other villain has been over the last few decades. Now, as fans wait for more specifics on when this show will come out on Disney Plus in 2026, plenty of other questions will be asked about how this story will bridge multiple eras of the Star Wars history. So I actually think this weekend we'll get a lot of information about Maul Shadow Lord. San Diego Comic-Con has to give us something, and I think that something will be Maul Shadow Lord. Now, honestly, the biggest surprise to me about this gallery here, hang on, what? How do we get out of this? How do I exit this? Hang on, escape. Oh, there we go. What surprises me most, oh, wait, whoa. Hang on, Chad. Ignore that for a second. What surprises me most about... What? Wasn't this not... This is... Chat! There. About this, the gallery, is that it's missing something. Does anybody know what it's missing? Resistance has 2 seasons. Maul should get at least 3. That's valid. Andor got cut to 2 instead of 5, but that's because it's live action. That's because Diego Luna would have been a 50-year-old playing a 25-year-old Cassian, and it wouldn't really work. Visions and Rebuild the Galaxy, but yes, Visions. That's weird because Visions is coming out next and Rebuild the Galaxy, but Visions Volume 3 comes out next. So why is that not being focused on here at San Diego Comic-Con? They could even give us another a trailer or something like that. Like, why not focus on that too? It is animation. Anime, but it's animation. And so is Rebuild the Galaxy, I suppose. So that's pretty interesting. It's not canon? No. But this isn't specifically Star Wars canon only. Visions isn't getting a spin-off? Oh, yes, it is. Sorry. I read that wrong. So that's kind of weird to me. I think that the reason is because they're going to focus on Maul Shadow Lord a lot this weekend and not Visions Volume 3. D23 is in August, where they might give us more on Visions there. But it looks like the focus this weekend is 20 years of Star Wars animation, and Visions Volume 3 is not there. So it might be that we could be getting a lot more information about Maul Shadow Lord. And let's not forget, too, Sam Witwer said that they've been working on this for over a year. That was at Star Wars Celebration, so it's over a year and a half almost now. He's been working on Maul Shadow Lord forever, voicing it, meaning the animation's probably done as well. So that show is ready to go. There's already a trailer that's been shown to the people at Star Wars Celebration months and months ago. So why not release that trailer publicly this weekend? I mean, Lucasfilm, if you're watching, and we know that you are, How about a trailer this weekend? You know what I'm feeling this weekend? A trailer. You know why? Just because. Because you're awesome. We're awesome. Everybody's awesome. And we want a Maul trailer. Please? And thank you. Please? Yeah. Hopefully. If we're lucky. But I did not realize that we have some other craziness over here. So let me so not only do we have so this is the logo for the 20 years of animation. This we saw from Star Wars Celebration. But this I have not seen. This looks like the Bad Batch concept art. This was the thing we read before. So in 2011, Dave Filoni draws this. Just a clone trooper. Just a somewhat normal-looking clone trooper. That looks like Tech. But he has written here, Hunter, Tech, Crosshair, and Wrecker. That looks like it says Bronze or Brawn. Sniper. It looks like it says there. Intel, maybe intelligent. I don't know what that says. Can anybody read that, chat? Looks like a bunch of scribbles. I have no idea. Can anybody decipher that? But in 2011, he drew this with all that. Mike, what's up? How we doing? I feel like we need more Dryden Voss in this show. Oh, that would be nice. Well, we're going to get a lot of underworld stuff. So Dryden Voss, the Hutts, the Pikes. We're going to get a lot of that stuff. And even bounty hunters, too, like Cad Bane, maybe even some Fennec Shand. Maybe if we're lucky, like Dengar and Zuckus. But we'll see. Boba Fett, maybe even a younger Boba Fett. But that's pretty crazy that he drew this in 2011, and then 10 years later we get the Bad Batch. Can anybody decipher that? Is that Tech? Well, it certainly looks like it. Maybe it says Recon? I don't know. Moving on. That's Crosshair. That's so cool. The fact that somebody could just draw that, like if I drew that, it would look like a stick figure. Actually, no, it wouldn't look like anything. But I'm not really. Oh, Ahsoka. Young Ahsoka. Young Ahsoka. Why is there a Pittsburgh Penguins? What? Okay. That's from Tales of the Jedi. Also from Tales of the Jedi. Also from, oh no, this is from Ahsoka, it looks like. Actually, maybe not. What is this? What is this, chat? Is this from Ahsoka Season 1? Could establish name by reading Sith writing on the something. Might something to something to establish this something. This is easy to read. Ground cracks could be near a pillar. Okay. 10 something. A sense of something. Can anybody decipher this, chat? Is this from Ahsoka Season 1? Like when she's at the opening scene of season 1? It's when they arrive on Malachor? Oh, okay. Oh, so this is Kanan and Ezra. Ah, I see. Oh, duh. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Yeah, so this is Malachor 5. Ah, I get you. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah. I was just not thinking Rebels for some reason. Ah, there you go. I should have just went to the next slide because that's clearly Malachor 5. Okay. Stupid me. Stupid me. You know what's really cool about this too? Because we're going to the Dawn of the Jedi at some point in the near future. This Sith temple we could watch be created on Malachor 5. The cross-bladed lightsaber that we see Ezra pick up, we could see that battle go down. It'd be awesome. It's a tracker? Okay, cool. For Hunter. Whoa, what's going on here? Oh, is this resistance? Yeah, resistance. I could tell by the droid. Some more resistance stuff. More resistance stuff. Okay. Well, there you have it. That was pretty cool. I just didn't realize there was more pictures there. That's pretty cool. All right. So I think we got through all that I wanted. So yes, Maul, Shadow Lord, first image, and Ezra Bridger, first image. Doesn't get much better than this. I think we're gonna get hopefully some Maul stuff this weekend. I mean, that's the dream. A trailer would be fantastic. I can't even help myself anymore. But only time will tell. By the way, yeah. By the way, 89% of you do like the name Maul Shadow Lord. I gotta agree, but we'll see. Smash a freaking like in the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time I post a video. And of course, we will be live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for the rest of your lives. So if any news does drop this weekend, at least before Saturday, then we'll cover it all in that live stream. Yeah. And of course, happy birthday to Justin. Again, appreciate you. And yeah, smash a freaking like in this stream. Get on it. May the force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. Watch out for a short later on today. It's a pretty funny one, if I do say so myself. I'm going to see Fantastic Four tonight. So excited. If you want to talk Fantastic Four or anything spoilers, by the way, and you are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. But you can talk spoilers in the spoiler zone. Be respectful to others who have not seen it yet. But first official look at Darth Maul, Shadow Lord, and Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka Season 2. Love to see it, and hopefully this weekend will give us even more news to talk about, because there's nothing better than more news. But until then, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.